Hi hustlers, in today's episode I'm going to be talking about something very interesting and controversial. It is why Nigerian hustlers are taking over Ghana and what the Ghanaians must learn from this. There is something funny about history, and that between Nigeria and Ghana is not just a history of rivalry, it is a cycle. In the year 1969, Ghana passed the Alliance Compliance Order, chasing over 1 million Nigerians back home. They thought it was victory, but in the year 1983, Nigeria struck back. And the reason was this. In the late 1970s, Nigeria was swimming in oil money. There was this oil boom that brought a lot of jobs, industries, and massive prosperity to say. Thousands of West Africans, especially Ghanaians, naturally flocked into the country in search for greener pastures. Some went into the educational sectors. They were teaching, some were trading, some were into construction, some were into farming, amongst others. But by the early 1980s, oil prices crashed due to bad leadership. Nigeria economy collapsed. Suddenly, the jobs vanished, food prices shot up, and unemployment rate was all-time high, skyrocketed. So Nigerians began complaining that foreigners, they had to put the blame on foreigners, not the bad leadership or government. They put the blame especially on Ghanaians, and their complaint was that these people are taking over their job. Back then, if you need a laborer to clear your backyard, let's say for 10k, that a Nigerian laborer will likely charge you, you will definitely find 10 Ghanaians willing to take the job for just 2,000 naira. It was that bad. So the resentment naturally grew. So they were like, we are suffering in our own country while others are enjoying. So facing unrest and public anger, the government of President Shehu Shagari signed an executive order in the year 1983, giving all undocumented immigrants just 2 weeks to leave the country, a very short notice. So you see that it was hell on earth. The target was Ghanaians, an estimated 1 to 2 million population in Nigeria. Also, the move was meant to calm Nigerians and show Nigerians that the government was protecting their people and the government had their back. So that was how the Ghanaians carried their belongings in those cheap, now famous bags we now call Ghana Must Go bags. That was how the name came to be. So today, the coin has flipped. Tables have turned. And these tables have turned 360, and Nigerians are once again at the center of Ghana's economy. From the market of Kumasi to the nightclubs of Accra, Nigerians are just everywhere. And these Nigerians are loud, restless, and unapologetic. And now the same whispers is rising again. Nigerians mostly. On social media, we can see it, especially with the recent noise about the Igbo king, something that sounds really weird. But here's the truth, most countries don't know about the Nigerian enterprising spirit. Trust me, I have been a Nigerian my whole life, so I know very much about the Nigerian enterprising spirit. If you close one door against a Nigerian, he will definitely find a window. That's the resilient spirit of an average Nigerian on the street. But here's the real question. Why do Nigerians always bounce back? That's the question other Africans need to come to understand. Why is it that no matter how many times you push them out, they return stronger, louder, and more dominant? We have seen the same thing play out on the street of South Africa and even beyond. The answer is simple. Hunger. Hunger is what fuels the Nigerian hustling spirit. See, Nigerians are born in a land where the government gives you nothing, no handout, where survival is not a choice, it is a war. A society where you just have to find a way. Let's say a society of survival of the fittest. Every day in Nigeria is like a day in the jungle, where the lion and the gazelle wakes up, and the lion, knowing that for him to eat he must catch a gazelle, and the gazelle living in that realism that for him to survive it must outrun the lion. What a dilemma. That is the same fate of most Nigerians. That's why a Nigerian trader in Accra will work twice as hard. That's why a Nigerian musician in Ghana will sing 10 times louder, grinding out his life out in the studio every day and night. That's why you see Nigerians combining both faith and hard work. It's only in Nigeria you see a hungry man fasting and praying. Can you imagine? Things are really that difficult if you see a hungry man given the option to eat and he tells you that no, today I'm fasting. Things are really that difficult. That's why a Nigerian tech hustler will take risks others fear to touch. Same with the Nigerian baller. He will be training and scheming when his teammates are done for the day. Because for the Nigerian hustler, failure is not just losing money. Failure is about losing your life, failing your family, and the people that you care about the most. You can chase the hustler out of your land, but you cannot chase the hunger out of his bones. That's the default setting he was born with. Most Ghanaians are of the opinion that Nigerians are too loud, too aggressive, too cunning, while their Nigerian brothers on the other hand will say Ghanaian hustlers are too slow, too soft, and too relaxed. But hidden in those beliefs are the very lessons we need to learn from Nigerians. Ghanaians can learn fearless marketing, which is the art of selling like your life depends on it, while from Ghana, Nigerians can also learn structure and patience. They can learn the calmness that builds a sustainable system. If you look at Ghana, see what Ghana have been able to achieve in few years instead of fighting. Imagine what happens if this strength is being combined. A combination of Ghanaians' peace with Nigerians' hustle, a combination of Ghana order with Nigeria's madness, Ghana's stability with Nigeria's fire. I believe a combination of these two will build an Africa no one can ignore. But here's the tragedy. Instead of learning from each other, we keep repeating the same cycle of rivalry. First, Ghana sends Nigerians out, then Nigerians sends Ghana out. Now Ghana debates again whether to send Nigeria out. And tomorrow, who knows who will be sending who out? Don't forget, the elders say, when two brothers fight, strangers will definitely inherit their property. Guess what? Why Ghana and Nigeria are busy arguing who should leave? Guess what? China, Europe, and America are quietly moving in and taking over everything. I made a video on China's silent war on Africa and I took a lot of heat on that, but it is what it is. An adaptive hustler must understand this. The man you envy today has mastered something you refuse to learn. So you have no option. Either you learn from him or you'll be left behind. A good and smart hustler must understand this. The man who owns the land owns the future. This is one concept in the game that Nigerians understand better than anyone. Go to most streets of London, it is being occupied, and not just occupied, owned by Nigerians. Watch this. This is how it works. And Ghanaians must learn this trick. First, a Nigerian comes to a street and rents a very tiny shop. He's observing, looking around. He starts selling few commodities. He's jovial with everyone. A year later, he brings his brother to rent the next shop, which was once occupied by a Ghanaian. The Ghanaian is shocked at the 4D ruthless chess which was just being played on him. He doesn't know the Nigerian has networked his way into the heart of the landlord, who is a Ghanaian, and offered a raise in rent. So the Ghanaian loses his tenancy, and now the Nigerian control two shops next to each other, fully secured for his brother. 2 years later, this Nigerian guy comes home during Christmas holiday and lavish some money. Convinced the land is green, his cousins or friends choose to join him. Before you know it, half the street are Nigerians. So the next step now for the Nigerian hustler is this. He doesn't just rent, he now buys, offering mouth-watering deals that the Ghanaian landlord can't refuse. And when you own the land, guess what? You don't ask permission anymore. This is the power of ownership. While others are thinking of today's meal, the Nigerian hustler is thinking of tomorrow's empire. A typical Nigerian hustler understands the principles that renting fits you for a day, ownership fits your bloodline. Now, what makes Nigerians so resilient? This is why no matter where you push them to, be it South Africa, London, or Accra, they still tend to dominate. Here are the codes of resilience every Ghanaian must learn from the hustlers of Nigeria. 1. Number one is family network. Study Nigerians, you realize that no matter what, a Nigerian never hustles alone. If one enters a country or your neighborhood, 10 will follow. To them, hustle is a family business. They are just like the Israelis. Yes, that's just a plain truth. Number two, Nigerians have these aggressive marketing skills. Nigerians shout, they sing, they dance, and force you to notice their product. They will do anything just to get that kobo, that coin out of your pocket. In a quiet market, their voice always wins. Thirdly, I believe they have the risk appetite for risk. They are not afraid to fail. If the shop closes today, they open another tomorrow. There is no time to sit back and cry. They have the 50-cent mentality, which is get rich or die trying. So even if the money is in hell, these guys are ready to sell water in hell just to go get it. They have the ability to adapt. Nigerians can sell anything, anywhere, anyhow, from spare part to software. They will adjust and always find a way to survive. That's just a God-given skill. Also, I think Ghanaians should learn the ownership mentality, because a typical Nigerian don't just dream of feeding. They dream of building legacy. They dream of building businesses, owning lands, owning houses. Once they touch anything, they aim to own it. So instead of shouting, Nigerians must go ask simple questions. So why rent the same shop for 20 years? Why sit quietly and hope that customers will just walk in when you could be bold and market yourself like a lion? Why see competition as a threat instead of a mirror showing you what is possible? Remember, I said something earlier. The man you envy today has mastered something you refuse to learn. But above all, let's be honest, Ghana has what Nigeria lacks. They have peace, they have a certain level of stability, and they have the structure. Nigeria has what Ghana often lacks, which is the hunger, the madness, and relentless hustle. Imagine if Ghanaians' patience join Nigerian persistence. Imagine if Ghanaians' order join Nigeria's risk-taking. Imagine if Ghanaians' respect join Nigeria resilience. Africa will not be begging at the table of China or the West for loans. Africa will be sitting at the table. And hustlers should know that the true war is not Ghana versus Nigeria. The true war is Africa versus poverty. And poverty does not care about your passport. So to my Ghanaian brothers, don't chase Nigerians out. Chase laziness out. Chase dependency out. Chase short-sightedness out. Because the truth is simple. Nigerians will always bounce back. The only question is this: are Ghanaians ready to learn the secret, or are willing to remain at the sidelines? Hi hustlers, that's all for now. If you haven't joined the growing hustlers community, one of the fastest hustlers community out here on YouTube, please endeavor to click the subscribe tab and join this growing community. See you next time. Cheers.